Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order. That being the regular council meeting of Warwick Township Council, December 11th. Anybody have any disclosure of pecuniary interest or conflict of interest, council? Seeing none, thank you. Also want to welcome everybody tuning in to Warwick Township YouTube. I'm now going to do the acknowledgement of ancestral lands. We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered here today, Township of Warwick, is located on the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, as well as the many Indigenous nations in Ontario, whose footsteps have marked them for centuries. We also wish to acknowledge that we are situated on Treaty 29 and Treaty 25 territories signed by Chippewa chiefs, and we offer our respect and gratitude for these lands. We're going to go to number 5, we can council, and that's minutes of the previous council meeting. Those are the minutes of November 13th, 2023. I'd like to have a mover and a seconder if I could, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Kellenberg, seconded by Councillor Manning. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Madam Clerk, there was no business arising from those previous meetings?
There was not.
Thank you very much. Number 7, council. It's basically scheduled meetings and events. The one I want to note, they're all important. One I want to note especially is the Thursday, January 25th budget meeting in January of next year. It starts at 3:30. I know we're all aware of it, but that's going to be a big meeting for us moving into the new year. And of course, B, just this other meeting events, and the one that's listed is the Roma conference. And again, we have asked for, I think, 5 or 6 meetings with ministers during that time, during that conference. Let's go to number 8 if we can, councillors' commitments and items. Does anybody have anything for councillors' commitment dates? Does anybody have anything they'd like to add? Subtract? Very good. Thank you. I'm going to go to councillors' items. I'm going to start with you today, Councillor Westgate. Did you have anything for today?
I have nothing today.
Thank you. Councillor Morris?
I also have nothing today.
Deputy Mayor Kellenberg?
Just a comment that lots of positive feedback on the new community center from lots of people. So.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Councillor Manning?
Nothing today, thanks.
Very good. I also don't have anything for today as well, so we'll move on. We'll go to staff items. And I don't see anything at all for verbal. Do I, Amanda? Sure, Amanda, please.
Thank you, Mayor Case. So while not included on your agenda, I just thought I would take the time leading into the holiday season to clarify for council the office hours for the municipal office. So as per our plan, we will be open during the holiday season and we will be closed for a half day on Friday, December 22nd, reopening for full days on Wednesday, December 27th, 28th, closing for a half day on Friday, the 29th, and then reopening for regular business hours on Tuesday, January 2nd. Just wanted to share that with council.
All right. Thank you very much, Amanda, for that clarification. Anybody have any questions on what Amanda just stated? Very good. Thank you. Okay, we're going to skip through our number 10 is our delegations and timed events. And there's 3 drains here, which we're going to be dealing with, but they are timed. We'll come back to those at 4 o'clock. Keep it on schedule. I'm going to go to number 11. That's accounts. And does anybody have any questions on the GL report first, 11A? Any questions on 11A? Seeing none. Does anybody have any questions on the accounts payable being 11B? Seeing none. I would ask for a motion to include both A and B in one motion and to pass them. Yes, Councillor Morris. And seconded by Councillor Westgate. Any further discussion of any? Seeing none. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. We're going to go to number 12. That's part of our consent agenda. And part of our consent agenda. Does anybody have any questions on A to G? We'll pick them out as if we need to. If not, I would ask for a motion. Yes, Councillor Westgate. Amanda, would you like to respond?
Thank you, Councillor Westgate. I just wanted to highlight for yourself and for other members of council that this same resolution directly from the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office was supported by council at a recent meeting, just so that you are aware.
So that was the meeting I wasn't here probably.
Oh, well, we're keeping it consistent, Councillor Westgate anyways. Very good. Anybody else have any questions on A to G? If not, I would entertain a motion to receive and file. Councillor Manning, thank you. Deputy Mayor Kallenberg is seconding that. Any further discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, let's go to 13 if we could. 13A is quite easy. No action corresponds. I think it's the first time I've ever seen that in all my years sitting here, so there's nothing there. We'll go to 13B. There's a CIP recommendation to council. The recommendation is that Warwick Township Council approve report P&D 3223, Community Improvement Plan Committee recommendation, and that the application for structural improvement grant for $35,000 at a rate of 20% funding and building accessibility grant of $5,000 for 517 Gold Street, the Watford Veterinarian Clinic, be approved. How does council wish to deal with that particular item? Councillor Morris.
I make a motion to accept the recommendation.
Seconded by Councillor Westgate. Any discussion of any? Seeing no discussion, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. You're welcome. Yes, Joe. Okay. All right, let's go to see if we could. This is site plan control bylaw. There's a recommendation that goes along with that Warwick Township Council approved bylaw 127 of 2023, which exempts site plan control for projects initiated by the Township of Warwick. How does council wish to deal with this recommendation, or do they have any questions? The planner is in attendance as well. Any questions for clarification? Seeing none. How does council wish to deal with the recommendation? Councillor Westgate, you moving that? Moved by Councillor Westgate. Do we have a second? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg is seconding that. Again, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Okay, Johan, you got let off easy tonight, didn't you? Let's go now. Let's go to D if we could, please. And it's the farm worker accommodation zoning bylaw. And it's basically there's a recommendation to defer the zoning bylaw to 2024. How does council wish to deal with D? Questions or comments first? Seeing none. How would council like to deal with it? Moved by Councillor Westgate or question? Question,
Just
Councillor.
a question, are they not working out there?
So through your worship, all the deferral is going to do is defer bringing forward a report for the permanent zoning bylaw amendments. So if you'll recall, the project out on Zion Line received temporary bylaw approval. So that gets to sit and continue. This is about updating your zoning bylaw to have permanent regulations, and we need a bit more time. That's all. So they can continue because they have temporary approval through the temporary use bylaw. Once the permanent bylaw rules kick in, then that temporary use bylaw would be repealed. And then they would be subject to the new rules in the zoning bylaw.
Thank you.
So just to be clear, this will not affect them in any which way for what they're doing out there then, Ken?
That's correct.
Very good, thank you. How does council wish to recommend? Councillor Manning, you moving that?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Morris. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Let's go to E if we could. Cemetery maintenance agreement. And there's two different pieces to this. I'll read it. That the Township of Warwick Council directs staff to issue a request for proposal RFP for the cemetery grass cutting and caretaker contract services for Warwick Township cemeteries on a 3-year term commencing in the spring of 2024, or that the Township of Warwick Council directs staff to enter into negotiations with Keith's A Cut Above Lawn Care and coordinate a 1-year renewal agreement. This is for council's consideration. How does council wish to deal with this particular piece of business today? Yes, Deputy Mayor Kallenberg.
On the one chart there, there's an asterisk beside 2023. That's just, I'm thinking it just means because it wasn't to the end of the year. There was no explanation, but just clarification.
Yes, thank you. To Mayor Kallenberg's point, yeah, we just put an asterisk in there to ensure that we had everything up till the end of 2023. The number included does include invoicing received up to the end of October, but there could be, if any, something small further to be added.
Thank you very much. Amanda, did you want to speak to this one as well?
I can.
If you don't mind, that'd be great. Thanks.
Sure. So thanks, Mayor Case. I just wanted to highlight to council that while Ryan's report very correctly provides some options to council, I just did want to highlight that we have in the past extended the contract for Mr. St. Peter a few times for a year at a time with the blessing of the cemetery board as well. But that doing so again would be, I'll say, not in compliance with our current purchasing policies, which do require that from time to time we go out to tender. And there were circumstances why auto renewal was provided for Mr. St. Peter, partly COVID, for a few years. So that's kind of the background on the options provided. Ryan may have something to add. Sorry, Ryan.
Yes, thank you, through the worship. I think just a general point, reissuing the RFP would certainly be in alignment with our municipal operations and standard best practices. It would give us the opportunity to reset the scope of work to ensure it's in alignment with township staff and the cemetery board directives, and just give us an opportunity to reset the market rates to ensure that what we are receiving is in alignment with how we want to proceed moving forward.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that clarification with the two options presented. How does council wish to proceed on this particular item? Councilor Westgate?
I believe we should go for tender again. 6 years is long enough. And I was just wondering if there was any more thought of doing it in-house. I know it was talked about last year and I didn't think it was a good idea at the time, and I still don't, but have there been any more thought to that?
Thank you, Councilor Westgate. I think there's always thought to it. I think we're always looking at ways to sort of streamline our operations and set us in the right direction moving forward. I think a further look into taking on that work internally could be done following issuing the RFP. We'll take a look and see what types of proposals we receive, and kind of that will help us best gauge whether it's something that we would want to take on internally. But I think again, that would maybe come as next steps following issuing an RFP.
Okay, I have a mover. Do I have a seconder to that motion? Councilor Morris, you're seconding it? Okay, any further discussion on this particular piece of business, council? Any questions, comments over and above? Not seeing it. Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Let's go to F if we could. And this is a Public Works and Capital Project status updates. And Andrew is not with us today. Did you wish to speak to this update, Amanda?
All right. Yeah, thanks, Mayor Case. So as per usual, Andrew has just prepared his regular report for council leading up to the end of 2023. And as requested, it does include its usual capital update with some additional details for council's information, just to provide an update on any outstanding capital projects from previous years, as well as this year's current capital project load. We're happy to answer any questions of council as best we can in Andrew's absence.
Okay, not to put you on the spot, Madam Clerk, but I figured there might be some questions. That's why I brought it up. So I'm going to start with Council Morris and I'll go to Council Westgate. Council Morris.
Yeah, my question is the Churchill line asphalt replacement. The geotech meeting was on August 15th and I've seen nothing happening yet. I just wondered do we have an idea when the project is going to be done? Yes, I believe it was budgeted in last year's budget. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was.
Thanks, Councillor Morris, for that clarification. I think we will have to look into that response for you and report back to council. Thank you.
Councillor Westgate, you had a question, sir? Oh, no? Okay, I thought I saw your hand. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? And again, without Andrew here, it's awful hard sometimes for staff to answer the questions directed to him and his department. But if you do have any other questions, we can always bring them forward. You're welcome to speak to Andrew anytime if you have a question on his report through the next couple of weeks. Anybody? No? Okay, if there is a recommendation to receive and file, how does council wish to deal with that? Deputy Mayor Kallenberg is making the motion, seconded by Councillor Manning. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Okay, let's go to 14, if we could. Council, on your agenda, new business, and there is a recommendation to award a tender for the Higgins Drain Maintenance, that the tender for the Higgins Drain Maintenance project be awarded to McNally Excavating for the cost of $43,750 plus HST, total cost of $49,437.50. How does council wish to deal with this recommendation? Councillor Manning's making the motion, seconded by the deputy mayor. Any further discussion on this particular piece of business? Seeing none, all in favor? That's carried. Okay, council, we're ahead of the game here today. We do have timed events starting at 4 o'clock. So maybe what we'll do is we'll call a small recess here for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then we'll come back with our timed events. So we'll be back shortly. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go back in session here. The next order of business here today is the Parker Drain 2023 quarter revision. And I'm going to ask for a motion that Warwick Township Council proceed into the quarter revision for the Parker Drain 2023 bylaw number 102 of 2023. May I have a motion, please, council? Moved by Councillor Morris and seconded by Councillor Westgate. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. It is part of my responsibilities to invite Garrett Kingma, who was appointed by Adelaide Metcalf, to come up and join us, but he is not here at this point in time. If he comes in during the process, I'll happily invite him up. Part of my responsibilities is I have to ask the question, have any written appeals been received, Madam Clerk?
No written appeals have been received.
Does anyone present have any verbal appeals? Seeing none? And it says here, it asked me if Andrew has any comments, but Andrew's not here, so that'll be easy. So, Mike, did you have any comments? No, thank you. Since there are no appeals filed, the following resolution is to be passed. I'll ask for a motion that the quarter revision for the Parker Drain 2023 bylaw number 102 of 2023 be closed without changes to the report and that we go back into open session. Deputy Mayor Kallenberg, Councillor Manning, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So our next order of business, council, is consideration of drainage report. So we're going to proceed into the consideration of the drainage report for the Welsh Drain 2022. Any petitioner has the right to withdraw from the petition. Does anyone wish to withdraw? Seeing no one. Any other owners in the area requiring drainage have the right to sign the petition. Does anyone wish to sign the petition? Already hasn't. We run a pretty quick show here. Thanks for coming. We mentioned you. You'll be in the minutes. I'm now going to ask Mike DeVos of Spreets and Associates, if you would please explain your report. Mike, the floor is yours.
Yes, this report was prepared in accordance with Section 78 of the Drainage Act for repair and improvement to the existing Welsh Drain. This is a resubmission of a previously submitted report. The landowner had asked that we remove a culvert from the project. We had originally proposed a culvert be included. So currently now the report includes ditch clean out, clearing and brushing, some erosion control works. But the culvert has been removed from the project. So it's just under 1 kilometer of open channel. And I'll stop and open up to questions.
Okay, Andrew's not with us, so I'm not going to touch on that part for his comment. Does anyone who's present wish to ask any questions or make any comments? Anybody? Okay, seeing none, thank you. So if the report is approved, the bylaw will be given first and second reading later in the meeting. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Okay, we also have a consideration of drainage report, and we're going to proceed into the consideration of the drainage report for the Huckworth Drain 2022. Any petitioner has the right to withdraw from the petition. Does anyone wish to withdraw? Seeing none. Any other owners in the area requiring drainage have the right to sign the petition. Does anyone wish to sign the petition? I'll now ask Mike DeVos of Spreets and Associates to please explain his report. Mike, the floor is yours.
Yes, this report was also prepared in accordance with Section 78 for repair and improvement to the existing Huckworth Drain. There was a request for a new culvert near the bottom end of the drain on the Elliker property, and we have prepared a report which includes 15 meters of 6-foot diameter or 1,800 millimeter diameter pipe. We are also suggesting that some erosion control in the form of a rock chute close to the culvert to try and address surface water entering from the field. At that point, there's a fair amount of surface water that's dropping into the channel and needs protection at that point. But basically, it is more so a culvert project. The open channel, there was no requests for any improvements or anything to deal with a new report on it. But the upstream landowners are involved financially, contribution from assessments upstream of this culvert. So the project does include the whole watershed. And I'd stop and open up to questions.
Thanks, Mike. Does anyone present wish to ask any questions at this time? No, seeing none. Okay, if the report is approved, the bylaw will be given first and second reading later in the meeting. Thank you for attending. We appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, council, so ladies and gentlemen, this actually is the last of our open session today. We're now going to be going in camera. Council, I'd ask for a motion to move in camera pursuant to section 239 of Municipal Act 2001 is amended for the following reasons, number 2, 3, 4, and 6. Councillor Manning is making that motion, seconded by Councillor Morris. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.